Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you're all doing safe. Hope everybody is staying calm during this lockdown season, quarantine, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. Uh, some of the counties are starting to open up here in California, and I think that's a great thing. We've been plagued with more riots, and I'm sure you're all seeing it nationwide, probably even worldwide. Lots of people being bussed in from other cities as usual. It's the same status, the same problem, the same reaction, and it's just violence is the course for some of these people. It's just all about violence. Any excuse for violence that they can find to feel justified, when it really comes down to the fact either you want to act violent or you want to be peaceful. And it's tough. But, obviously, as a Christian, we start with Jesus Christ. That's the first one. And we see how he reacted to all of these things. It's very, very obvious that you do not change people with your fists, as Bruce Lee said. As all of you know, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. But saying it and doing it are two completely different things. It's hard to be the change that you want to see in the world. Most of the time, we are our own worst enemy, and we see that over and over again. We hurt ourselves, we destroy ourselves, we destroy our lives. And for what? For what? What is the purpose? So I know that there are a lot of great people out there, a lot of good people that really, do care about this world and really do want to make some changes, some necessary changes. And it's just how we're going about doing it is that's what's going to make the difference, and not only in our life, but in the next generation's life to come. Anyone who thinks that burning down buildings and burning down and looting and all that stuff, that's the wrong way to think. It's how children think. We need adults. We need adults not only in our military, in our police service, in our law enforcement. We need them out on the streets too. And I know that there are many, and it only takes a few to disrupt the peaceful protests that should happen, that will be happening. But now it's going to make it more difficult for people to understand the difference between a peaceful protest and just a bunch of looters and rioters and thugs and people that just want to act tough until the police start firing back, and then they want to play victim. And I don't think it's fair to have it both ways. It's just some of the stuff is really pointless. So I think everybody should know that the killing of George Floyd is real. He was killed. However you want to slice it and dice it, and however the media will, and they're playing into this whole race war. And I'm looking at the documents, I'm looking at all of these things, and just going, how is this a racist thing? How is this crime? The killing of George Floyd, I don't understand how it's racially motivated. There are real racists out there, and the problem is if we throw that term everything, then the term works for nothing, and that's the problem. And of course, that's what racists want. That's what the real racists want. People think when we're talking about racists that we're just talking about white people. That's not true either. We all came from the same place. We all came from Adam and from Eve, period. So what are races but the devil's tools to keep us separated? That's all it is. And continually, some people just don't understand that. They just don't get it. Maybe they don't have Jesus. Maybe they don't see it from that view, and that's fine. I can't change that, and I'm not interested in sitting there and arguing with people and fighting with people especially people that I consider friends and family. At some point, it's just like, all right, well, you believe that, I don't, and that's it. There's nothing else to really talk about. So at some point, we have to let those things go. But I knew all this stuff was I knew all these riots and all this stuff. We all saw it. I'm sure we all saw it coming. And it's just this misplaced anger and hatred mixed with George Soros and paid protesters and agitators and people who do this for a living. And you can see it. When you watch those protest videos, you can see the people that are orchestrating the violence. They always want to turn a peaceful protest into a violent protest because they understand how powerful a peaceful protest is. It is the most powerful thing that you can do. And not many people are willing to actually do that. They're not willing to do what Jesus Christ did. They're not willing to do what Martin Luther King did. And so many other people, Dick Gregory and just a lot of other people who understood that, violence is what they want. You give them what they want and they are pleased. The devil laughs and smiles at violence. He wants the violence. And it's up to us to look beyond that, to look deeper, to realize that this is not just about you. This is not just a quick fix. It's not just, okay, well, this will make me feel better if I go out and riot and loot and steal a bunch of crap that has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't work like that, and it doesn't make you feel better. It makes you become exactly the thing that you are fighting against, and that's the biggest fear. The people who have racism put on them then become racist, bigger racists, and it's just this flame that just keeps growing and growing and growing, and we never ever get to focus back on the real problem. So for that, I've started a Facebook group, and it's called The Killing of George Floyd. And that's exactly what I want it to be about. Not about the riots and not about the reaction and children crying about things and all that stuff. I want it to be about George Floyd. And I think his message will get lost. The whole thing will get lost. The case will get lost. And so I don't know. I just think it's very important for the people that do want to focus on the facts and the documents of this case, of the trial that's going to happen, of this murder. I think it's, I want to create a quick, easy place where people can get those documents. And we have requested documents related to it. Obviously, it's still open. I don't expect to get the documents anytime soon, but the autopsy is going to be very important. And if anybody knows the name of the person who was killed during one of the riots, one of the lootings, that would help too. I signed up for the Hennepin Medical Examiner's press releases, so anytime that there is a death, I do get a notice. And so I got one for this one, for George Floyd, and then I got one for somebody after that, and I forget what, I think the name was Harris or something. So I was trying to see if that was the person that was killed during the looting and shooting for those riots. And Minnesota, we know that they have a lot of bad cops, but let's not act like they're all bad. Let's not act like there aren't any good cops there either. That's childish thinking. That's not rational thinking. That's not adult thinking. And that's the biggest problem in this country. And what Obama wanted and what all these people wanted is to keep you as children, to keep you as slaves. It's easier to enslave a child than to enslave a grown adult. So I would encourage everybody to remain a grown adult if you are. And if you're not, you can still act like that. There's probably many children out there that are acting more logical and more rational than people over the age of 18. And there's no excuses. There's no excuses for violence. You can't say it's okay if someone else is violent towards me, then I can be violent back. It doesn't work like that. That's only going to cause yourself problems. And just, watching these riots last night, I was just like, why am I looking at this? Why am I watching this? And I just finally just stopped, because just like it was just a waste of time. I know this script. Tons of videos for some shooting, for some killing, and it's never about the shooting or killing. It's about violence, a new world order. It's a diabolical scheme that people are falling for over and over again. And I do think it's a small minority of people that are falling for this over and over. I think most people realize, if there is a good way to get justice, and then there is the other way that is just us. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it all about race. I don't want to see it all about one group. We're all one people. We're all human beings. We are all made in the image of our Creator. So I'm hoping that that's where everything will kind of, stay, I guess. But we will see. We'll see what happens. The officer has been arrested. They were all fired, I think, right? The four cops involved were all fired. And so we'll see what happens next with the trial. But that's how you're going to get justice. Burning down things is just going to make you look worse. It's not going to make you look better. Getting justice will send these people to jail for a long time, and will let other officers know not to behave like this. Hopefully training will also change, even though this obviously was not part of any training to just to sit on somebody's neck. Never seen any training like that. At least not for 8 minutes. Not for 2 minutes. It doesn't make any sense. So the rioters have not done anything for justice. The problem is they believe that they have. They are delusional, and they truly believe that they are doing something right, that might makes right. And it's really sad to see how bad how bad this whole the situation is, and how far we still have to go in this country. And now the people who are so concerned about racism are now going to have the problem of becoming racist themselves, falling into that same trap. So we'll see what happens with all that. But I think some people just want a quick fix, and just want to, we need to fix this problem now. And if we just riot and raise a big fuss, and somehow that's going to make things better. And it's not. It never does. People wonder, well, how come things never change? Because of crap like this. Because of the riots. Because of the violence. Because of the games that people get sucked into. It's over and over and over again, and it's just going to keep happening if we let it. So the autopsy that came back was that the preliminary autopsy shows that George Floyd did not die of asphyxiation. It was a combination of different things, but it's still the officer's fault. No matter how you want to slice it, the officer is still to blame for that. Had he not been on the ground for 8 minutes, he probably would still be here. I think that's a rational thing. I think it's a very logical thing to conclude. I just think there's so many race-baiting groups out there that are just looking for any reason, any excuse to create problems. And it's not directed at the right people. It's not directed at the right place. And then once the cops start doing something, they all just run and hide like cowards. So, it's really frustrating. I can see, if I'm frustrated, I'm sure the family and friends of this guy have got to be frustrated. And the older people seem to know. I mean, it's the ones who did march in these 60s and the 70s who seem to understand exactly what is going on here. So we got to pray for our children. We got to pray for those people that are out on the streets creating violence. Pray that they change their ways before it's too late for them, before they ruin their lives. They're not going to ruin anybody else's life. You know, this violence is not going to make anybody else change their way. It's just going to put them in jail, and it's going to create more problems for them to have a real life, to carry a job, to live in a normal world. I understand a lot of people don't want to do that. They want the easy way out. But again, that's what children do. This is adults versus children. Men versus boys. And the choice is ours. You know, I can't change you either. Only Jesus Christ can. That's it. And the focus has got to be there. My focus is there. And I would assume that every Christian's focus should be there. And they should realize how wrong it is, you know, to go out there and start burning down businesses, burning down things. And the fact that we're only seeing this in certain areas, the same areas over and over and over again, does show me that it is a program, it is a plan, it is a script. Oakland, California, downtown Oakland, California. Once again, I mean, riots all the time, rioting over anything. There could be nothing. It could start out as a party and just end as a big riot. It's scripted, and people think that it's cool. They think that it's a good thing, and it's not. You know, later on they might realize that. Maybe when they're sitting in jail, maybe they'll realize that. You know, maybe when they actually grow up, they can realize how wrong that is, and it's just really sad. And it's frustrating, you know. I'm really frustrated by it. So I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, but be right back here. Let's see here. All right. All right. Let's stop and get some cash. I was just really disappointed in what I saw for the. I mean, and again, it's a small portion. The real peaceful protesters are making a difference, and I do support them. They're out on the front lines dealing with these people that show up to protest, to just riot, to just cause trouble. Paid protesters, and I think more of that is going to come out. Cops dressed up as protesters, spray painting things. This is nothing new. I mean, they've been doing that for a long, long time, and that's what makes a peaceful protest so powerful. Is really, you can't really argue with it. You can't. There's really no counter to it, except for violence. Just to be violent, but that's not going to work. That never works. That's the reason why Martin Luther King is so powerful. Even though he's dead, he is so powerful and so inspirational right now, and will always be, because of what he did while he was here. And then there's the Malcolm X, but let's not forget that Malcolm X changed his ways too. And yeah, they were killed. They were brutally murdered by a conspiracy, no doubt. But that's how serious they were. That's how far they were willing to go for peace, for truth. And a lot of people aren't. They want to show up with masks, burn stuff down, and then feel good. While the business owner, small business owner, big business owner, while they all suffer, and that's supposed to be a good thing? I don't think so. Never was, never will be, never can be. It just creates more violence and creates more problems. And you all know this. Deep down inside, even the most rotten human being knows it. And there is change. Every day is change. Every time that we are peaceful, it is a victory. Every time that we are violent, it is a loss. We win and lose every day. It's a continual struggle, a continual battle until Christ comes back. The world is not going to be perfect before that. The violence is not going to end before that. The riots are not going to end before that. The fires, it's not going to end until Jesus Christ comes back. So we're put in a very tough spot. We have an obligation to Jesus Christ to do the right thing. He would not want that. He would not want any of this violence, anything like that. There's no way. It goes against everything that he said, everything that he taught. People are turning their back on Christ probably without even knowing it, without even realizing it. It's frustrating, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. There's a lot of frustrated people out there. I saw it in the videos. You can clearly see it. We all saw it. There was a video of a bunch of people that were trying to tip over a police cruiser, and there were two young black girls there with their eyes just wide open. Almost, you could see the expression on their face, and they're like, why are you doing this? What are you doing? One of them physically gets involved, physically gets in front of these people and tries to stop them from flipping over this police car. It's a very powerful moment that I think will get lost, and I hope that I still have that clip. But it's a very powerful moment that reminded me that it was a peaceful protest. It started out as a peaceful protest. It was meant to be a peaceful protest. But as we see time and time again, there are people who want to make sure that the protest doesn't stay peaceful. And they only need a couple people. From what we heard, they were bussing in people from other cities. The Minneapolis cops said that most of the people that were taken in were not even from that area. We see it over and over again. Cops must get tired of it. And there's no excuse for it. Okay, we're not going to blame all Mexicans for something. We're not going to blame all blacks for something. Then let's not blame all white people for something either. Let's not blame all cops for something. We don't blame all Christians for something. That's the biggest difference, is that we are all our own people. Yes, we are one, but at the same time, we are individuals, and that's what makes us one. That's what makes us special, you know? So, I'm just super frustrated today. So, I'm gonna make this day a better day, do something good, do something positive. It's just people really think that it's a good idea. Some people think it's a good idea to wake up in a nation that's burning. The only ones that think that it's a good idea are the ones who don't care about this country, who don't want this country to go on, who want to destroy this country from the inside. And there are many evil powers, many evil structures that have been trying to do that for years, since before the country was even founded. And ultimately, it's all in God's hands, so we don't have anything to fear standing up against them, standing up and letting them know that this is wrong. This is not good behavior. This is not a winning attitude. This is a desperate, defeatist attitude that the New World Order craves, that they create, that they want, that they incite over and over again. So, I hope that the, I almost called it the Justice for group. But there are a few Justice for George Floyd groups out there right now, and a lot of the posts are just about the riots and stuff like that. But I wanted to create a group that was more focused on the case, on the coming trial, because that's what's going to get lost in the whole shuffle. People aren't going to be talking about the George Floyd trial of this one cop. It really should be more than one cop, but at least that's where the focus should be. And I know that there are evil powers out there that don't want that to be the focus. They want the focus to be on the looters, on the cops, and on everybody else. They want us to pick a side, to either stand with all cops or stand with all looters and all rioters. And we all know that there are many different shades of gray in between that. And we don't have to just do that. We don't have to just pick one side. Our side is truth. Our side is the right side. The side of peace will always be the side of violence. There's only so many buildings that they can burn down, and then what? What comes after that? But I'm telling you, a lot of them are just do it because they know that the police won't fight back. They know that the business owners won't fight back. Once the business